Welcome to Grumpy Vegan Grandad. I thought I'd do a little walking video today. I'm just walking to work. The sun's not shining. It's raining. It's that, you know, that fine stuff that gets you wet. You're not wet until you get to where you're going, then realise you're piss wet through. So, last night, or yesterday, had a day off, and I spent all day filming, reacting to a TV show called This Week on the Farm, Channel 5. Now, Channel 5 seem to have a little sort of pro-farming, anti-vegan agenda. I've noticed this, and I've done 2 previous videos using Channel 5 footage, and I've sort of got away with it because originally I did the video and I got a block, and then I just used little snippets of video and I got away with that, and it's still up and I'll link them. But This Week on the Farm, it was hard to sort of use snippets because it didn't explain what they were talking about unless you played a few minutes of it. Anyway, I posted it last night and it got totally blocked in the UK. Totally blocked. And they must have an algorithm, or whether the tags, I don't know how the hell, because I recorded it off screen. I didn't use, you know, the footage. Well, I did use the footage, but I recorded it as it played on my computer screen, so I don't know how all this works. So maybe somebody can tell me how this sort of, is it metadata? I don't know, but the metadata wouldn't show up, would it?
Weird. The police are out there. The copyright police are out there.
So unfortunately, a day's work got took down. So that is the explanation for that disappearing video. So today, once I get down to where I'm working, I'm going to do one of my new series, which is common sense answers to vegan questions and HG vegan at the same time, because I'll be doing it from my lorry cab. So I'll speak to you in a little while. So here I am in my wagon. I'm just about to go over the Woodhead Pass, or rather I am not, because something has happened. I've been sat here now for nearly 30 minutes, and that traffic, oh, there's blue lights coming down, that queue of traffic goes all the way over the tops to Barnsley. So I am basically screwed. So I can't turn around because my wagon is quite long and the road is quite narrow. Oh, fire engines. So it looks like there's been a fire. Anyway, we could be moving very, very soon, but I might use this opportunity to do a little video that I promised to do. So the police are turning people away behind me, and obviously I'm stuck here. So let's have a chat. Let's talk about dairy though. Cheese though. What do we say to people about dairy? The vegetarian's dirty little secret. And I don't know how to read studies. I don't know how to gauge scientific evidence. I'm just a trucker. And what I do is I look at people who are experts in the field or know how to read the literature, and I look at what they say on both sides, on the carny side and on the vegan side, and I make up my own decisions. And it is what we all need to do. This is the only way we can gauge it. Look at the evidence and look at what makes sense. That's the key. So let's go through it bit by bit. Let's go through the dairy process. The dairy process involves 90.999% of the time involves artificially inseminating a cow. There's a more precise word for this, and it is rape. And I know some of you don't like to use that word. And the definition of rape is non-consensual sex or sexual activity. So cows are innocent, non-consenting animals, and they are subjected to a fist in their anus and bull semen inserted into the uterus to make them pregnant. To obtain the bull sperm, bulls are again put through the act of masturbation, basically, or an electrical dildo shoved up their ass, non-consenting. So both animals are sexually abused. That is just the start of the process. That is to get the female pregnant. Now, I know some of you, there's an ambulance going on there. I know there's some of you who thought, and I did too, that cows eat grass and produce milk naturally. It's the natural cycle. They always produce milk, but no. Surprisingly, this is what goes into it. After the cow has given birth, it looks like I'm going to be here sometime. After the cow has given birth, if the calf is a male, he's either taken away and fattened up slightly for the veal industry, or put in a crate, or exported, or used as a bull for impregnating more cows. But 9 times out of 10, male calves are shot in the head or butchered by the farmer or by an abattoir, a murder house. The cow is then milked for the milk, and this process is repeated over and over and over until the milk production starts to drop away, which is usually around 7 or 8 years old. Cows live to much, much longer. And then they're sent off to the murder house to be turned into beef. And a large percentage, I think it's over 75% of the beef in the UK, comes from spent dairy cows. When they're sent to the murder house to be hung upside down, bolt gunned in the head, stabbed in the throat, and studies have been done on this bolt gun to the head, and there's lots of occasions from this study by I can't remember who it's by. It was by an animal welfare charity. A lot of the cows weren't properly stunned before they were stabbed in the throat, because money is only made if things are efficient and quick. They want as many cows slaughtered in the day as possible. They've got quotas to meet. So a few mistakes will be made. Also, the farmers have no way of telling whether the cows are pregnant when they're sent to slaughter, and quite often live fetuses are exposed when the mothers are ripped open and live fetuses drop out, and then again unborn fetuses are murdered. So that is the dairy industry. That is what happens. That's the process. If somebody asks you why they shouldn't drink dairy, you can tell them that it is the most cruel, the most ongoing, lengthy torture processes out there. It causes death, male calves are killed, and most of your beef comes from spent dairy cows. What about the health side of it? Well, let's have a look at the health side of it. Now, again, this is what I've gleaned from looking at studies. I don't claim to understand them, and I look at the results, at what they say the outcome was. That's as much as I can do. I'm not trained to do this, but I've listened to other people who know and what they've had to say about it, and I've not found any conflicting evidence. But let's look at it in a common sense scenario. Let's see if things make sense. Milk has got saturated fat in. Milk has got cholesterol in. Milk has also got mammalian estrogen in it. And it's also got casomorphine, which is morphine. It's an addictive drug to make the calf come back and drink more milk. So your cheeses are concentrated casomorphine. You're basically smackheads. I mean, you smell cheese. You get a whiff of that sweaty sock odour of cheese. If you picked up any other food and it smelled like a sweaty sock, you wouldn't eat it, you'd bin it. So why the fuck do we eat cheese? Now, from what I've gleaned, the casomorphine causes a dopamine response, a kick, just like real morphine. And also, we're designed to seek out fat as well as a survival reaction. So we get a kick from the fat as well. So cheese really sort of hits home. It's an addiction. It's a literal addiction. I used to love the Blue Stilton. I used to love it. But there is a vegan version and it is fucking the same. So search that out. So cheese, yeah, and it's the worst one. It's the worst one for fat. It's the worst one for cholesterol. It's just cheese really isn't good for you. Really isn't good for you. As is milk. And even the semi-skim milks, they are replaced with sugars. What they take out in fat, they replace with sugars. So, yeah, milk isn't good. And the estrogen side of it. Now, estrogen, mammalian estrogen, mimics human estrogen. And if you're a man, a macho man, and you're drinking a lot of milk, you might as well be taking the hormone drugs that men take to, if they're born in the wrong bodies, if they're born in the head as a female and they want to transition to a female, they take these tablets, hormone tablets. And you were doing exactly the same, just in a milder form. It just takes longer for you to develop breasts, because you do develop breasts in middle age after a lifetime of drinking milk. They're called moobs. It's nothing to do with being overweight. It's to do with you're growing titties, boys. You're growing titties. And as far as women are concerned, you're overdosing on estrogen, and this has been linked with breast cancer and other problems. Whereas phytoestrogens found in plants does not mimic your own hormones, and even as in men, the opposite effect. So this bullshit soy boy thing is bullshit, because phytoestrogens increase your testosterone. So I've read. Don't quote me on any of this. Go out and research it. So that's the health side of dairy. Oh, and don't forget also, the government has laid a maximum limit on pus and blood allowed in the milk, and feces. So you're having a bit of that as well, because a lot of the cows get mastitis and all sorts of problems and cuts and everything through unnaturally being milked over and over and over and over again, unnaturally, by machines. Just not right. So what about the environmental impacts of milk? Well, I think it's, for 1 litre of milk you need 1,000 litres of water. That's an issue to start with. Most of the soy, grain and crops that we grow on the planet is fed to cows, to cattle. Most of the forest clearance, the tree clearance, the jungle clearance is to clear land to grow food and to graze cattle. You've got billions upon billions of animals, of large cows that shouldn't even be on the planet. They shouldn't even be here. They're artificially bred animals. They shouldn't even be here. Now, these animals are shitting and they're pissing. And that shit and that piss goes into the water table. It seeps down into the underground reservoirs and streams, and the flow goes into the rivers, and it's causing dead zones in the ocean. There's not supposed to be this many cows on the planet. Plus the methane they produce, the farts, the burps, they're causing a lot of methane, and that is one of the worst greenhouse gases being put into our atmosphere at the moment. So, dairy, milk, cheese, the whole industry, it's not good. So anybody asks you about dairy, why you don't drink dairy, why they shouldn't drink dairy, you say it is cruel. They rape, kidnap and kill young calves so we can steal the milk. It's extremely damaging to the environment, and it's extremely bad for your health. You know, I've just thought of another thing as well about the dairy, this thing about the calcium. And I'm not sure what study this was, and I know I've read it. And basically, they did studies on countries that don't consume dairy, because 65% of the population, of the human population, are lactose intolerant anyway. So how are they surviving? Why aren't they walking around with broken bones if milk is the big champion of calcium? But they've done a study on the population of the planet on certain countries that don't consume milk, and they get less instances of hip fractures, because hip fractures are a sign of lack of calcium. However, in Western countries where we drink a lot of milk, the hip fracture instances are higher. So what's happening? I've seen studies saying that when you drink milk, the inflammation and everything leaches calcium out of the bones, and the skeletons and bone structures of milk drinkers are less dense than those who do not. There's a lot in it. But anyway, I'm sorry it's been a bit of a disjointed sort of scenario, but I'm trying to watch what's going on the road here. I'm still stood still. All this time I've been talking, I've not moved an inch. But there you go. Dairy is not good. Dairy is cruel. Dairy is extremely damaging to the environment. Dairy is extremely bad for your health. It causes cancer. It causes heart attacks, strokes. It is not good. Save the animals. Save the planet. Save yourselves. Go vegan. Stop eating cheese.